Cheers. Salud to everyone else out there. If you can't tell, we're drinking wine. It's Friday night. We're both in PJs.
So comfy,
and,
so good.
This is the Love Movement podcast.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody.
Fam bam.
Yeah, I'm Steve B, and this is my lovely wife, Betty B.
Yay.
What's up, girl?
Hey.
How you living tonight?
I'm just happy it's Friday. Very happy.
That thing is too far away. You were right. Just pull it a little closer to you. Right there.
Perfect.
That's so much better. Oh, someone forgot to put his phone on silent.
Rude.
I know. That's
very rude.
That's like rule number one
yes.
about podcasting.
About
that I'm
life.
Breaking. Yeah. So how's your week been, babe?
It's been good. Busy. I have to say it's been busy.
It's always busy with us.
Yeah, but when you're starting a new job, it's challenging because you're stressed because there's a lot of information coming your way. And then you have to handle the daily date stress on top of that. But it's good. It's been good. I'm happy where I'm at right now. I don't know. I'm good.
Yeah,
I feel good. I feel good.
I knew that I would.
Don't do that. I knew it. I knew it.
Wait.
How's your week? How's your
my week? My week's been good. Definitely still busy. It's weird because it's not as if there's just like a stack of things that we need to do every single day, but it does kind of feel like there's never a time where there truly is nothing to do.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I feel like sometimes it gives me like agita. Like I get,
agita. You love that word, by the way.
It's it's an Italian thing.
So why you get agita?
Because it's just like feeling like the work is never done. You know what I mean?
Like here in the house or at work?
No, I mean work is work.
Here?
I don't really refer to work that way.
Oh, so you mean here?
Because if I run out of things to do at work, I don't have a job. You know what I mean?
That's the same thing. That's how I look at life. When we don't have anything to do, we're dead.
But I don't want to
think about it. We need stuff to do, places to go for fun or for running errands. We need things to do. Imagine, let's say our kids are grown and out of the house. We're going to have so much time in our hands and it's going to be quiet and it's going to be lonely. And I think of that and it makes me sad. So I'm embracing the busy life now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like busy. You know I'm a busybody. I like having stuff to do. I like planning things for Tyler. I like mom life.
I feel like that
I think I was born for this.
Do you think that that's more typically a female thing, like always wanting to do something?
No.
No?
I explain why. I've known guys that they're always working in the house.
Well, I'm not talking about work.
Always.
You're talking,
No, always. They're always finding a new project to do.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to do the backyard. I want to do a new deck. I want to do a pool. I want to do gardening. There's a bunch of guys that are busybodies too.
Yeah, some people just don't know how to sit still.
I know.
And you're one of them.
And I think you need... Yeah.
You need a balance.
No, I think I need a busybody like me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So we should just call it quits right now?
Yeah, let's do it. Bye, peeps.
Oh, we didn't even make it to episode 10. God damn.
Just kidding. You need a balance. Absolutely.
Yeah, you need a balance.
If not, you're going. I need someone to take me. Hey, why don't we relax today?
Yeah.
Because I love my lazy Sundays as well.
I know, but you don't allow yourself to have them.
Because there's always something to do. Like, I need to clean that. Oh, I forgot to do this. I need to go grocery shopping. But that's why this weekend I'm planning of having a lazy Sunday.
Just like you were last weekend.
I want to do everything on Saturday so I get to actually do nothing on Sunday.
Yeah, but there's, like you said, there's always something, like, oh, look, the kitchen looks like a mess and I can't relax until it's clean.
But that's why I want to clean, I want to organize, I want to do laundry, I want to do grocery shopping, I want to get ready for the week, everything on Saturday.
I don't know. Me personally, I just have that.
And maybe Sunday, then we don't have anything to do and I plan to go somewhere with Tyler.
That's what I feel like you're gonna do. Because I mean, if the past is any indication, that's generally what happens. But no, I like the stillness. I like the calm. I like not having to run around because I get stressed because whenever there's like things to be done in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, we have to finish by this time so we could move on to the next thing with enough time to do that. So it becomes like a
See, I
schedule
don't
in my
think
head.
like that.
Well, that's the way I think. I
I'm
try to
com-
like do time management so that way you can actually accomplish what you need to accomplish. When it's just, chaos, then that stresses me out.
There's no chaos.
It's
I just
chaos.
don't have that stress of the time ticking behind me. If it's Saturday and Sunday, I don't watch the clock, okay? Because that's my time to not have to, I have to make it to work. I have to come back from break. I have to do this. No, those are the times that you go to your own free will. You're free. You have all the time in your hands.
That's in those free times I like to lay down and just find something that's enjoyable.
What is enjoyable to be a couch potato?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that's fun. It's good. Not all the time. And when you have kids, you have to do things with them
That's true.
and enjoy the weekend with them and enjoy your time with them. There's going to be a lot of time to be a couch potato when they're away in college or whatever. I hope they do college near me.
What if they don't?
I'll move.
Because
I'm gonna
that's
hunt them
okay.
down.
So now that's a big thing because
I'm going after them.
you're
Am I a toxic parent?
you can be. No, you're not toxic. Definitely
Thank
not.
you. Thank you.
But I see that your dad is a bit of a helicopter. He's a helicopter parent.
Is he a toxic parent?
He's not toxic. No,
He's
definitely
not
not
toxic at all.
Toxic is that's a strong word. I don't like. There's no. I don't think that has any place in this conversation. But some people don't know how to let kids have their own independence.
Usually, grandparents are like that. They're scared. You don't even know. I want to know. I want to see your mom around Clyde when he's starting to walk. I want to see that. I'm pretty sure she's going to be like a helicopter on top
If
of him.
she's tasked with babysitting him or something like that.
Of course.
Okay, but that's different.
Baby,
could be
she's the same way. If we're with a baby, she tells you, are you sure he's okay like that? Are you sure you're holding him right? Are you sure he's not cold? Are you sure She tells you all these things. Imagine when he's starting to walk in a park.
Okay, but now here's the big difference. She does not live in the house with him 24/7.
What? Okay, what's the difference?
You would think being around the kid that much, you would get a little more used to it and a little less intense.
That's a grandparent thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my opinion, by the way. Now people are going to say, oh, she is so opinionated.
Well, I mean, you kind of have to be opinionated. We have a talk show.
Of course.
We have an internet talk show. If you didn't have any opinion, this would kind of suck.
And of course, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but this is just how I see things.
We're kind of dancing around a specific something that I wanted to get to at some point in the course of the podcast.
Let's jump
before we get
on it.
Well, I wanted to address this before we get too far, too many episodes in, and we might just skip Chismecito time tonight and do a little you and me quality time.
Well, you and me, chismecito.
Yeah,
it's just chisme about ourselves. Not chisme about anybody else. It's just our chisme.
Yes.
That's good.
And actually, before we get too far, I apologize that half the lights behind Vigo the Carpathian are not working right now.
And it so happened to be my side,
it's
right? Coincidence? I don't think so.
Yes, I purposely broke just that side.
Yes.
What I was going to say is that, this is a conversation we have a lot, and it always, it's not sticking points, but this is where we end up having the debate is, what's the best approach when you're raising a kid? Because you and I come from very different backgrounds, very different upbringings. And I wanted to get into what those upbringings are a little more for the audience, because some of them might not know one of us or either of us very well.
Of course.
And I think that would be useful.
I have to say something before we go into that. I'm very proud of us, because we have learned to talk to each other and communicate so much.
I'm proud of shit.
We actually sit down and talk about, listen, I don't like this that you're doing. I don't like how you're talking to Tyler about this. You need to do this, blah, blah, blah. This is what makes me feel. And I feel like you're open to hear me. and you give me feedback as well. And I think that help us be better. You're helping me and I'm helping you.
100%.
You're seeing my perspective, but I'm hearing your perspective. There's a lot of times that I come to you and I ask you, am I going crazy? Am I being crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Am I being too much? Do you think I'm being too strict? Do you think I'm being too soft? Because I really I think we all as parents question ourselves. Are we doing the right thing? I think a good parent should question if he's doing the right thing. Are we doing the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
Every kid is different. The way I'm talking to my kid, is that the way that works for him? That's how I don't know. That's how I get the best out of him. Are we communicating the right way? You know what I mean? There's
No,
so many questions that goes through my head, but I'm happy that I have you to look back and tell you, listen, I'm feeling this way. What do you think? You know
well,
what I mean?
that's what a good partner does. You have to be able to bounce those thoughts and ideas off the other
Mm-hmm.
person without fear of judgment or, that they're gonna flip out and act irrational or something just because you said something honest that you were looking for, some legit feedback.
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to openly ask those questions without
Mm-hmm.
fear of some kind of reprisal. And I think that we've really, I mean, we didn't have it, in the beginning. We had to
No.
learn it.
Yep.
And I think I would tip a glass to our ability to learn that and to grow. And I hope that just by us talking about how we did it and what we do, then maybe it might help other people. I mean,
Absolutely.
that is kind of the point of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, I hope this helps someone. If not,
Of course.
thanks for listening anyway. But good luck.
Cheers to that.
Salud, baby.
Salud.
Salud. Chindan.
What's that,
Italian
chindan?
means 100 years.
Oh, didn't know. I learn something new every day. Okay.
All right. So, where you from, girl?
I am from Ciego de Ávila, Cuba.
Ciego de Ávila,
Ávila.
Cuba.
No one knows where that is.
Mhm.
It's a very, very small town in the middle of the island. It used to be part of Camagüey, but it's not anymore. And it's very little. We only have one hotel with one pool. We have a lot of other little hotels, but they don't have a pool.
Mhm.
To us, it was very important because it's very hot in Cuba. So knowing that we only have one pool in the entire town is a big thing.
Mhm.
So that way you can realize how small of a place it was.
But now, could you kind of explain a little bit? Cuba is an island.
Okay,
I would say
Cuba is an
relatively small.
island boy. I'm trying to make. Okay, it's an island in the Caribbean.
Why? But I'm saying, why is that one pool so important?
Because
Considering you're
it's-
on an island with some of the most beautiful beaches in the
Oh.
world.
Okay, because we have a bunch of beaches and they're really nice, but we don't have access to it.
When you say we, you mean
We, the Cuban, the regular Cuban living in the island. If I go now, number one, if I'm allowed to go back, I'm not sure if I'm allowed. But if I were to go back, I can go now because now I have dollars and they consider me a tourist, even though I was born there.
Mhm.
And even though I have to go in with a Cuban passport. Very contradicting, doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense. So we don't have access. The regular Cuban that lives in the island don't have access to these beaches. You need a permit to go in, and to get that permit is a mission. So
So they make actual Cubans jump through hoops just to
through-
use the beaches.
Yes, and we use them from time to time because my dad had a friend or things like that, but it was not the common thing. To go to this pool, it was the same thing.
Mhm.
I was actually able to go because the director of the hotel was my dad's childhood friend.
So he had hooks there.
And that's why we will call him. And if he was working that day, they will let me in to use the pool. But it was an entire mission.
Mhm.
Again, I'm talking about my time. I don't know how things are right now.
Well, around what
but
time
I'm sure
was this?
this is
Late 80s, early 90s?
yeah. Well, I came here in 99.
Okay. So let's get into a little more about like your actual upbringing, like what the family life was like, because your parents are still together. I think people know
My
that.
mom and my dad are still together.
Mhm.
I'm an only child. I don't have any siblings. And we are a small family. I will consider us a small family. It's my mom, my dad, Then my mom has a sister, which she's still in Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
And she had 2 kids, my cousin Marbelis and my cousin Sergio.
Shout out Madre.
Hey.
You might know some of her sons, Raymond and Listico. They've been on A Pot Amongst Men. If you guys listen,
Oh, that's
if you guys
true.
are into that kind of thing. Anyway, continue.
So they are not in Cuba; they're here. But mi Tita Lidia, she's still in the island, and that's it. Then my dad has a brother. He's here as well, and that's about it.
Yeah.
We're very small
So it's not,
family.
not a big family, kind of pretty tight, I would say.
Very tight, because I think that's our culture. It's not a big family, small family thing. It's just our culture. We're very close to each other. We help out. My family, my upbringing was we all chip in. Let's say my aunt doesn't have a bicycle. That's our transportation that there.
Because nobody had a car.
Nobody had a car. So then we lend each other a bike. Or if we had the money and we can lend it to each other or we can buy it for each other, we will do that. If my mom went in the store and she saw that there was shampoo, she will buy 2. One for her, one for my aunt. My aunt would do the same thing. So that's how we grew up. We share whatever we have. If it's little or if it's big, we share everything we have.
Now, let me jump in on this for a second, because this is one of the things that made me fall in love with you, is that idea of sharing, of, if I have something now, that means we have something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's that, I don't know what the right word is for it. It's almost like a compassion thing, because it's like, well, it's a generosity that I don't think that as Americans we're inherently kind of, we don't have that built in the way you guys do. Obviously, the situations are very different, so it brings out different parts of people. But I think that is one of the things that I love the most about you.
Thank you, baby.
That generosity. It's a selflessness, even at times.
I learned
where you
that
do for everyone else before yourself.
I learned that from my mom and my dad. How I was brought up is that if we had money in the house, they would tell me, this is what we have, and my money is your money. And I was still a kid. I was, 8 years old. I remember him showing me where he would put the money, and he would tell me, we got dollars. My grandmother was living here, and she would send us dollars. That meant it was a lifesaver. So he said, we got dollars. That means on the weekend, we're going to go to the store and you're going to get a sweet, whatever. That was my thing. I wanted a chocolate or something, anything related to sweet or candy, something. So he would let me pick whatever I wanted that day. And then I will want a bunch of other things, toys and things like that. And he will tell me, no, we don't have enough for that, but show me what you want. And next time I get it, maybe we can buy it. And I remember one thing that I always wanted, I never got because it was a lot of money. But I always would pass by and show him. But I was okay because he showed me exactly what he had and it was not enough. And he needed to buy food and all that. So I was understanding of that. But I grew up.
What was the thing?
It was just an audiobook.
An audiobook?
Yes. So stupid, right?
What do you mean like an audiobook? Like a book on tape?
It was a book with a cassette.
Oh.
So you had the book to read along, and you put the cassette, and it would read it for you.
Would you remember what the book was?
It was Little Mermaid.
Oh.
Silly thing.
Qué linda.
And it was like $7.
Wow.
But it was a lot in Cuba. So I never got that, but I always wanted it. And I always in my head had the hope that I know I'm going to get it. He's going to get it for me, but now it's not the time.
See, now let me zero in on something there. That, I think it's, the idea that your parents included you in these decisions, they made you feel like your opinion mattered, like they wanted to show this is our money, we're a family, everything, all these decisions are made together, like you matter just as much as everyone else. That right there is very, very different than, I would argue, even a lot of other Cubans.
Yeah,
not just,
that's true.
American people like myself.
No, I know.
Like, most parents is like, no. We're the parents. We're calling the shots. You shut up and do what I tell you.
My house was not like that.
That's kind of like what I used to. Maybe not, not as extreme as that sounds. But it was like, no, listen, we're the parents. We're gonna do what's
best for you.
Yeah,
that's it.
And you just just follow instructions, and it'll all work out. Like that, I think. John Mulaney talked about that because that's one of the biggest differences I've seen now is the amount of rights kids have. So yeah, we didn't have any rights. We had the right to follow instructions, and if not, then watch out. Not that I was getting like beat up or anything like that. Just like, hey,
It was different.
these are the rules.
For me, it wasn't like that. I always felt like I was part of the family, that my opinion mattered. Maybe I would say stupid things like I don't want to live here or I want to move somewhere else, and they will just go about it.
Don't waste that money on chicken.
I know,
I want ice cream.
but they will explain it, and I guess that made me feel responsible. Like, okay, they're treating me like an adult. I have to be an adult.
I think 100%.
You know what I mean?
Definitely had to have an impact like that.
Absolutely.
Because
I couldn't act like a child. They're treating me like an adult.
But this is one of the things that we always kind of go back and forth about is that with Ty, he hasn't been put in the situation where he has to kind of be a little more mature and think about things from a real
I have to tell you something.
perspective, you know?
In Cuba, I've noticed, and I think a lot of people will agree with me, you have to mature and grow up
You grow
faster.
up fast, 100%.
Way faster.
Yeah.
You don't have time to be a kid
Well, things are harder.
because you're exposed to a lot of things. You don't even have toys to play with. How long are you going to stay a child? You don't have cartoons to watch. How long are you going to stay a child? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you start develop interest for grown-up things because there's nothing else for you to do but grow up. You know what I mean?
Well, think about how mature you must have been at 10 years old versus how mature
No,
a typical American kid is at 10
I
years old.
compare myself. When I came here, that I went to school, I couldn't believe that kids my age were babies. To me, were babies. Like, what is this? Like, come on, grow up. You know, I felt so big among them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so crazy
Well,
to me.
it's not
It was
surprising.
but to me, it was.
But that's why I try to always point that out when we have these conversations is that your experience and the way things were with you is very different for him because he's not growing up wanting for anything. Like, I mean, I'm sure that must feel amazing to be able to give him, whatever we can, and
I told you about the little Santa letter I found. My mom kept everything, every little note I would write her, anything like that. I remember I found when we moved here, we were moving from one apartment to another one, and I found a letter to Santa that I wrote, and I cried. It was like it was not myself. Like I cried with that letter. Like I felt sad for me. You know what I mean? It was like I could imagine what my mom went through reading that, and it made me sad. My letter was very simple. I was asking for the simplest thing. I said, "Dear Santa, I would like an apple, or or a condensed milk can, or a soda." That was it. One of the other.
one of those three.
One of those three. That was my list. And I cried because I've seen in movies a bunch of apples, and I always had that interest of trying an apple. I want to taste an apple. What is it like? They were selling them, but they were very expensive, so we couldn't buy any. When I came here and I had an apple, I said, "This is what I was waiting for." I hate apples. I don't like apples. To this day, I don't eat apples. I was wasting all my energy on that.
Johnny Appleseed don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Apples. I hate apples.
They burned us.
And I cried so much with that letter because I cannot imagine having my kid write a letter like that. You know what I mean? And not being able to afford those things. I don't think I got any of that. You know what I mean? So that makes an impact on your life. You experience everything differently. And I think the way you're going to raise your kid is going to be different.
Yeah.
Maybe in a good way, maybe in a bad way.
But consider this, though. I mean, obviously, things were a bit more of a struggle when you were growing up. But look at how that impacted you and kind of forced you to mature a little quicker. But not, I mean, from what I understand, from everything, all the stories I've heard from you and your parents, Not in a bad way. Not where you
No,
were,
I'm not. I don't have any resentment.
yeah,
I
no. I mean,
every.
like, not like you grew up too fast, like one of those
Oh,
girls.
okay,
You know
okay.
what I mean?
Yeah, no, no, no.
So my thing is, at what point do we have to kind of give Tyler a little bit of adversity, like some
That's
challenge?
the thing. Okay.
Okay.
Um. Again, my experience was completely different. I One thing that I want to mention, I would write letters to Santa, but we never had a Christmas tree. My first Christmas tree was when I came here.
You're asking for an apple for Christmas. I'm not surprised you didn't have a Christmas tree. I'm sorry,
So we didn't even have a Christmas tree. Our Christmas was not about the gift. It was just gathering together and having dinner together and enjoying a quality time. It was just a party day. We will play music, we will cook together, and that was the entire event. We will look forward to Christmas for that, not the gift. You know what I mean? And I think that is lost here. It's all about the gift, and
Yes,
and everything
100%.
is going to the mall and buying and buying and buying, and you lose that
Appreciation for what
appreciation for being here, for
Yeah.
being alive, for being with the family,
you
for
lose the
cooking
spirit of the holiday.
with the yes, and that I do miss.
Mm-hmm.
For New Year's Eve, it was the same thing. Just I remember those days, such a happy day for me, and I didn't get any toys, or I was not expecting anything. And what Tyler enjoys about the holidays is the
Is
gift that
a
he's gonna
mountain of
get.
goddamn gifts.
Exactly. So he's looking forward to those days just for the gift. And I don't blame him. He's a kid, and
Of
that's what
course.
it's supposed to be for a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But not for us that we are grown-ups already.
Yeah,
And we lose that as well. You know what I mean?
definitely.
I want to bring that back for us. Anyways.
Pause. The food is here. I just want to make sure that your parents know that the food is outside.
They didn't knock?
I don't know. I didn't get a message.
You want me to call him? You
I'm
call him.
calling your mom right now.
Ya, yo creo que he got it.
How do you know?
The ring.
Yeah.
I no.
Hey, let O and I know that the food is outside by the front door, okay? Hurry up. It's quick.
All right.
Thank you, buddy.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, call me back. Blue.
Okay, we're back.
So that's what I want to bring back for us.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
I don't believe, the question you asked me, I don't believe you have to teach kids through adversities or through pain.
I'm not talking about
Anything.
pain, but here's the thing.
You don't need to have them go through struggles to teach them a lesson.
But
That's what I believe.
That's what you believe.
Yeah, of course.
I believe differently, especially when
know.
it comes to little boys. Because if you want boys to grow up to be a man, and I know that that's kind of a loaded term, you know what I mean? But even as a person, it teaches you something about yourself. It teaches you self.
Can you pause that for 1 second? That's exactly what is contradicting to me.
Okay, go ahead.
You always tell me that society puts a lot of pressure on boys.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it right now. Why boys have to go from a different experience than girls?
Okay.
You are making that. You're how do you say
Perpetuating?
that same thing
Okay.
that you don't want.
So I'm gonna answer that question, and you're right to point that out. The reason I do that is because the society is still going to be less forgiving for boys and for males in general,
Okay.
especially cisgendered heterosexual males,
Okay.
like Tyler appears to be so far.
Okay.
So I want him to at least be prepared for the world as it is, not the world as we want it to be.
Correct.
That's what I want to teach him. I want to teach him how to be able to rely on himself, which I don't think is something only for a man. I don't think that's a masculine or feminine thing. That's just a human thing that's going to be a very useful tool for him. I want him to develop at least a little bit of independence. I don't want him...
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
The
But
thing that maybe we disagree is
Okay.
how do we teach that?
correct. That's
But
where
we are on the same page
Yeah,
on that. I
it just-
want the same thing for him.
the destination's the same. We're just taking different routes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want him to be independent. I want him to be able to trust himself, to
Now,
be secure about himself.
Here's the thing. What do you think is the best way to teach independence? Is to give them situations and chances to be independent, or to tell them they should be independent. That's that's the way I'm approaching it. Is I
Okay.
want to give him situations and opportunities to, you know what I mean? Like when you're put in, like you even said, when you're put into those situations, it's like sink or swim. You know what I mean?
Okay, absolutely.
And obviously, I'm not going to put him in a situation where it's going to be like dangerous to him or he could be,
Okay.
traumatized. But I want to give him opportunities to let that part of himself kind of show
Okay.
up.
I'm going for that.
Go.
Again.
Go. Hit
I
me.
don't
Hit me with
think-
some smart shit.
I don't think the kid has to go through struggles to learn that. Number one, you can teach a kid to be independent without having to throw him on to the wolves. You know what I mean?
You make it sound
You
so
can
severe.
teach him to be independent. The day that he needs to use it, he's going to be independent.
But how, and my question is, how are you teaching him that? That's the question.
If you prepare him, if he knows how to shower, if he knows how to clean his teeth, if he knows how to get dressed, if he knows how to prepare a mac and cheese, if he knows how to go to school and come back, if he knows telephone number, address, if he knows how to dial 911, if he knows how to wear a seatbelt, if he knows, be aware of his surroundings, if he's in danger, what to do, who to call.
But how is he learning those things?
We are the one
we
responsible
gonna-
to teach them, but that doesn't mean that we're gonna put him on the street and say, "Okay, find your way home. Let's see if you make it."
Of course not. But this, see,
Hello?
I'm telling you, you're making it sound way worse than I'm trying to try.
You
I'm
see, it?
saying
You give
the
me
same thing.
agita.
I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying I want him to teach him those things, but I also want to give him a chance to practice it a little bit. You know,
I get it.
That's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
think there's need for that because life is hard. Life is difficult. Life is gonna put you in situations that you are gonna have to prove yourself. I'm sure it's an instinct. If you give him all the resources, all the preparation, when time comes, he's going to be able to use them. That's
This
what
is-
I believe.
I
That's
think-
one of the things
yeah.
that we don't agree with.
That's exactly the point. That's
Now,
exactly where we're
I
disagreeing.
liked how my mom and my dad include me in every decision,
Mm-hmm.
or at least I felt included. I don't know if they did what I wanted.
Yeah, they at least made you
But
feel
they made
like
me
that.
feel like I matter. Like they made my life easy as much as they could, because one of their theory was that the life and the world is hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I can remove a stone from your path, I'm gonna do it. Until I'm alive, I'm gonna do it. I don't care how old you are. Whatever I can take away, any obstacle I can remove from your path, I'm gonna do it to the day I die. That is my theory as well. As long as I can clean your path and remove it, until I die, I'm gonna be walking next to you and trying to remove anything and everything from your path. Because guess what? There's gonna be a time that I'm not gonna be here, and you're gonna have to do it by yourself. But as long as I was able to help, you can count on me. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's a great thing. And I think we honestly are a tight family, but a good family, a good team. And I want to pass down that to Tyler and Clyde.
Okay, so let me pose this question to you. And I like where you, I think that those are all great, like virtuous ideas. I like those ideas. But my thing is, I want to at least give you a chance to try to use it. I'm not saying you have to use it from here on out, like all the things I've taught you. Like now I'm not,
What if
I'm
you
never going to
never
help
need
you.
it?
But here's the thing. I want to at least feel like I feel confident that you've absorbed the things I'm trying to teach you.
Let me ask you something.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
I'm
So I'm
co-
going to give you a chance to use it, and if you show me like I'm not ready, then I know I can teach you more. That we have more work we
I
can
get
do.
it, and that's a good thing. However, there's a lot of things that we think that it might happen and it never happens.
Mhm.
So why am I going to go through that when it will never happen to you? As an example,
Okay.
that's where my parents come from with this idea. Like there's a bunch of things that maybe you never had to go through that I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe me doing something different avoided all of that to happen to you. Then why putting it to a test?
So I think that comes down to a personality thing, because
Of
it's
course.
kind of like, in my mind, I would rather have the skill and not need it than to need it and not have
But
it.
that's where we are not in the same page.
Okay, hit me.
Tyler, I want him to have all those skills. And I hope life is kind enough to him that he doesn't have to use them. So he can have those skills,
Okay.
but not necessarily have to use them.
Well, okay, but then we're on the same page. I'm not saying
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. I want him to have the skills.
Okay, I agree.
I don't need to put him to a test.
Yeah, but I'm
If
not
I know I'm
saying-
teaching him the skills, I'm hoping that he learns that, and that's it. However, when there are things that you want to pass down to your kids
Mhm.
that you wish that they will stay with them, like being there, being a tight family, being good in communication. I want him to know that we communicate with each other. I want to teach him how to communicate. I want him, every time there's an issue or problem, I want to sit down. I want him to talk to me about things. And I think he's doing a pretty good job explaining whenever something happens in school. He comes to me, he tells me things, and I
Definitely.
feel so good about that.
I think you've definitely cultivated a good bond and a very high level of trust and comfort between you and Ty that I know I didn't really have with my parents when I was that age.
Why? That's what I wanted to know. Why you think that happened with you?
Well, I mean, I definitely think, the way that you've gone, I feel like you've gone above and beyond to build that, where a lot of parents don't. And I think it's a matter of,
But to you in a specific, what you think happened?
I think people get busy. I think all right, so a little bit about the way I grew up. I was born in Philly. My parents divorced when I was 3. I had me and my one of my sisters. My dad ended up getting remarried several times. I have, aside from one sister, I have 5 other sisters that I'm aware of. Most of them from different mothers. And my mom remarried in the summer before I started first grade to my stepdad. If you guys remember from Pot Amongst Men, his picture used to be hanging up on the wall. And
Oh
he
my
was,
God, I was going to do this.
Yeah, he's
I
not there
forgot.
anymore.
That's true.
Patrick Swayze's in his place.
I thought I thought it was Bruce Jenner.
You're not the only one. But shout out to Ralphie B. He was actually the last.
I love him.
He was the last guest I had on the show before when it ended.
He is an amazing human being.
He's a great guy. He's a great role model, and he's one of the biggest influences on my life, especially when it comes to being a father, because I'm in a very similar situation now in my life that he was, when he married my mom. But anyway, the point being that, when my mom and my biological dad got divorced, my mom was a single mom raising 2 kids in South Jersey with, she had a job, like she worked, but
It was rough.
it was hard. We had, we lived in a little apartment, I guess, like a town condo kind of thing. Like it's small, not in like the greatest area. And we had.
How old were you?
I was 3, 4, like kindergarten. Like it was just we lived there, and we only had the one bed. It was a trundle bed, so it's technically 2 beds. So the bottom bed pulls out and pops up, and then I would sleep on one. My sister would sleep on the other. My mom would sleep, at the foot, like between the 2. And that was just the way it was at the time. And then when my mom got remarried, then we were able to, they were actually doing a little better. We were able to move to a nicer town, and then I got my own room, which is fucking sweet. I had Sega Genesis, playing Street Fighter and shit. My man
She
Guile.
did an amazing job.
She did a great job. But here's the
was
thing.
working
My
hard.
mom worked her ass off to be able to provide
For
a
you.
better life for us than what we had started off with.
Absolutely.
And I think the trade-off that sometimes people don't realize they're making is that when you focus on providing financial and material support, is sometimes the emotional support doesn't, it kind of falls to the wayside a little bit. And it's not something I would hold against her, because I understand that, those are the cards she was dealt, and she was doing the best she could. And I think she did a pretty damn good job.
She did. I
So
admire her.
I give a lot of credit to her, and I think the problem was too, is that, she was young. Like she was 22 when she had me.
Very young.
And
And very
next-
responsible for that
Yeah.
age, let me tell you. There's a lot of 22, 21 that would never put that
that would never
off.
pull out.
Shut up! Oh Lord, you need to cut that off.
I'm not cutting shit out.
Yes.
This is I have the second glass of wine and I haven't eaten yet. So, but no. So, as I got older, like my mom was able to provide all those things for me that that she that she wanted to. Like she never. I didn't feel like I had to want for things. I don't. I mean, I don't want to say that things were made super easy for me, but they certainly weren't made super hard for me. You know what I mean? But also at that time in the late 80s, early 90s, kids had a lot more independence than they do now. So, and what I mean is that we used to go outside and play with the kids in the neighborhood all day.
I
No
used
one
to
was
go to
watching
school
us.
by myself, okay? I used to go to a school by myself, play in the streets, do everything by myself.
And you think the world was safer back then?
No, we didn't have any other option.
But that's my point, is that we were given chances to be independent, and it was kind of just what the situation was.
Wait. That doesn't mean it's better. Let me explain why. There was a lot of horrible things that happened to kids that now, because we know, we protect our kids more, and there's more kids that are safe now.
Definitely. You're right. You're 100% right.
So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think we're more aware that there's a lot
Things
of
are
bad.
way safer now.
Absolutely.
But the question is, what's the trade-off? Because in life,
I will take it 100%.
of course, but I mean, of course, when it comes to the safety of your kid, 100%.
100%.
But my point is that in life, there are no real solutions. There's only
Of
trade-offs.
course not. Of course not. And I'm okay with that. Every time I see in the news that a kid was kidnapped, my heart stops. So if I can protect my kid, I will do that. I don't care about the independence.
So, but what I think is that it's our job, if we want to be good parents and try to do the best we can for our kids today, is we need to think outside the box, I guess, a little bit and find ways to teach that to our kids. Because obviously, it's not going to be like the 80s where we just let them run free and then, just come home when the streetlights come on. That was the way it was for us.
So what we were talking, that I asked you, you think because your mom was working so much and your stepdad was working so much, you lost a little bit of that open communication because they didn't have the time?
But I think, no, I mean, I think there's more to it than that.
I'm sure, no. I know because she told me that doesn't matter how busy she was, there was always dinner time and everybody would sit at the table. I just think it was a personality thing.
Yeah, I think it's
not
a cultural
a time thing.
I think it's a cultural
because
thing.
she made the time for every single day have dinner as a family and everybody would sit down at the table and have quality time.
No, you're right. And
You know what I mean?
Give her credit for that.
Exactly.
No, I think it's a cultural thing. I think you guys as Cubans, it matters more about being involved in one another's life.
Yep.
Whereas with us, I felt like our lives were a lot more our own and a little more segmented.
I think it's a cultural thing, yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know what it was like for my mom growing up, like in her house. I don't know how much my grandma was involved in her day-to-day life. So I mean, I would assume that based off the way my life was, that it was kind of similar.
Probably.
So I think that that's another big thing. And I think that us coming to these situations from such drastically different backgrounds, I think it's a strength more than it's a weakness. You know what I mean?
No, I'm 100% there
it forces us to think outside of our own experience.
And see things completely different.
Yeah, definitely. And that's been something that I think has been the most illuminating for me since we've been together, is just seeing things from such a different perspective and seeing that just because it's a different perspective than my own doesn't mean it's less valid. And a lot of times, sometimes you guys do things better. Sometimes I think my way is right. Other times I see, oh no, I think that they're onto something there. we should really incorporate that. What about you?
The same thing. There's things that I look at you and I say, oh, that's why you do this or do that. And I admire you a lot. So definitely, I think we are a good combination and puts things in a perspective. I really like it.
I like it too. It makes life interesting.
Of course.
And I'm hoping that this works out for the boys.
I hope so too.
I w-
Because they're living here in this culture.
Mhm.
So their upbringing is a little different. So I'm pretty sure when they go to school and meet friends, they're gonna experience life differently
Yeah.
and see things differently.
Let me ask you something. How much of like the cultural thing do you think is built into us like genetically? Because I mean, like how like they say Cuban Hispanic women are much more fiery, more passionate. How much of that do you think is just something that you see growing up versus something that's already inherent inside of you?
I think it's inside of us.
You think so?
Yes, we're more passionate, dramatic. I think we feel things strong, more, you know? I don't know. I think sometimes, what do you call it? Vanilla bread? Something like that?
The what?
White bread. White bread.
Wonder bread?
White bread.
White
when
bread.
you refer to someone very white,
Oh, with someone's white
extremely
bread. Oh yeah, you white bread ass mayonnaise
with no
eating motherfucker.
flavor or stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayonnaise ass people.
I can see that. I see them. I
Yeah,
see
very
that.
dry,
I've
very-
met people like that.
If you're Cuban or Hispanic listening, very gringo. There's
Something very gringo that I
Yeah.
look at them like, why? They don't have blood in their veins.
flavor,
What's
yeah.
happening here?
just like cold, dry people.
And I'm pretty sure they look at us and they say, why is happening with them? They're crazy. Why are they so extra? You know?
Yeah.
It's just perspective.
It's just weird. It's weird to me because it's something that, like we've talked about this in over the course of this last year, and all the stuff I found out about my like heritage. It's just like looking back throughout my life, there's certain things where I felt weird about, and it kind of like I wonder, like, is that really legit? Is it legit that
Of course it
that
is. I think it is, absolutely. That you inherit those things. Your grandfather was black. There's a lot of things that comes to that.
Mhm.
Your taste for the music.
But I mean, more than just those, like,
your flavor. I think it comes from that side. You have Italian too.
I'm mostly Italian. Mostly
Italians are passionate,
Mhm.
are different type of people. That's why I think we clicked. Because I've heard that Italians are very alike.
Yeah, especially when it comes to traditional Italians, especially
Cubans.
like my stepdad, like his generation, those Italians are so similar to the way I've seen Cubans.
When I met your father side, your stepfather side, I felt like that was my family because how they behave. They're very close to each other. They're very loud. They're very into big dinners. Bring everybody over. Oh, you're bringing so and so.
Yeah.
The more the merrier. And you don't have to call ahead. And it's more, I don't know, more like us.
Yeah,
Gringos
definitely.
are not like that. Gringos are, you're coming you and just you. Okay, you sit here, very quiet, very peaceful, very goodbye.
Well, I feel like we should
know what
kind
I
of be clear about when we say gringos, like in English, like we would call them like WASPs, which stands for White Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Okay.
Like,
I have no idea.
usually coming from like Ireland, England, like those areas, like Great Britain.
You know what?
Like
I was told today
What?
that I had an Irish accent. I've heard it all.
Did a drunk man tell you this?
No, there was another guy. This have been to the course of my existence in this New Jersey town. I was told at my previous job that I had a Russian accent. That
Wait, but
are you Russian? Then the other one told me, I think you're Eastern European. I've heard it all.
Well, you don't look specifically Hispanic. Like you don't have features that shout Hispanic.
So maybe that's why they're completely lost
I
with
think
my
you
accent.
throw a lot of people for a loop.
When they hear my accent, they go, "What is
The accent
happening
thing,
here?
some people just don't. Some people just fucking don't.
What is happening here?" I have a thick accent. We cannot hide that.
It is what it is, but it's one of the things I find most charming about you.
But you know what I thought? I always thought that it was annoying. It was an annoying thing. Because to me, Sofia Vergara is so annoying.
Yeah.
And I hear myself and I
Sofia
hear
Vergara,
her.
you find annoying.
Yes.
Note to everyone else, don't compare Betty to Sofia
And
Vergara.
everybody says that.
Because she's
Oh,
one of the
you
most
sound-
famous. She's one of the most well, I don't want to say the most famous, but definitely one of the most popular Hispanic women.
You
or
sound
Latino
like
women.
her. To me, so annoying. And I hear it, and then I said, "Oh, I am so annoying. I need to stop talking." And you made me do this podcast, and I'm just thinking how many people I'm annoying with this accent.
But consider
I'm
how many
sorry.
people-
I apologize.
Consider how many people love her and find the accent endearing.
I don't know one. Can you introduce me to one that loves her accent? They find it funny. They make fun of her. That's different. I don't like that. Anyways, that was not the topic. Going back.
I don't know. Either way, I think the whole idea of your upbringing and even part of who you are inherently as a person all affects kind of the way you approach parenting. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say I've been going through like an identity crisis, but I just have been thinking a little more deeply about issues like this over the past year. Definitely ever since Clyde has been born. And definitely since, I found out all the stuff about my family. But yeah, it's just having those different perspectives. Like, it's really easy let's put it this way. You and I, if we didn't actually put in real effort, we could just spend most of our time arguing and clashing on these issues.
Absolutely. There's so many things that we see different.
Yeah,
there's so many are different.
There's so many opportunities for us to disagree. But the fact that we're taking the time to talk them out respectfully, we're not tiptoeing around the issue, but above all things, our goal is to make this work.
Exactly.
That's in my mind, that's the easiest way to explain it, is if you want the thing to work, you have to act like you want it to work. And I want it to work. So I keep that in mind as my top priority. What's best for us, for you and me and our family?
It takes effort.
It takes a lot of effort.
And work.
Yeah.
But we want that. And that's why we're still here.
Agreed.
And I think we're getting better and better every year that we spend together.
I really feel like it. And you know what? I really enjoy doing this podcast with you.
Me too.
Yeah?
It's good therapy. I've said it before.
I want to kiss you right on the lips right now.
Mwah.
I got a big smooch waiting for you. Honey,
That's so funny.
let's go inside and handle some chorizo. Food
is here.
Yeah, we actually ordered food. There is legit chorizo
Delicious.
inside.
And tostones.
I wasn't just being like
And what else?
sexually provocative there. We got
Chorizo, tostones.
chorizo, chicharrón.
Churrasco, ¿no?
No, we
No,
don't have
milanesa.
churrasco. There's milanesa.
Aguacate.
There's arepas, but not the good arepas.
No, I know. That place
I
is
like the
not
Colombian
good for you.
arepas. I'm just like dry corn
We like
shit.
the Venezuelan arepas. The yellow corn one.
Yeah, with the
Cachapas.
cheese. With the
Oh,
cheese in it.
Cachapas. My good Lord. I love cachapas.
All right, so how about this? Before we get out of here, do you have something ready for Dame la Luz? Okay, Dame la Luz.
Dame la luz. Ilumíname, mi
Baby.
amor. Ilumíname.
You want me to go first?
Sí. No, yo voy primero.
You wanna go?
Yo.
Go.
Ok.
Dale.
Dame la luz es para mi amiga Niurkys Cabrera. She is such a boss lady. I admire her. She came from Cuba. She started everything from the ground up.
Shout out to Niurkys.
Yeah, she's an amazing
I only
lady.
met her once, unfortunately, which is not enough. We need to remedy that, maybe?
Yeah, next time we have to meet her when we go down to Miami. She is an amazing lady. She's a single mother. She has a beautiful girl. She's doing so good. She started her own business. It's called NCA Financial Services. They repair your credit. They help you to go through your entire finances. We actually went to school together. We did accounting together. Then we did our master together. And I always thought of her as a human resources. She knows everybody. She connects you with everybody. She's such a nice person, a good person.
Great
She
at
helps.
networking.
She's great at networking. She helps you. She points you the right direction. She has an amazing business. If you want to follow her on Instagram, you can follow her at NCA Financial Services. You're going to put it?
I'm pointing
Awesome.
to it. It's right above my head.
I like it. And if you need any help with repairing your credit, know more about your credit, how to raise your score, anything like that, she's the girl to go. Anything finances, she is amazing.
And I want to give her a shout out also for showing so much love to the podcast
She's amazing.
since day one. So I want to say thank you very much. Thank you for being such a good friend to my lovely wife. And thank you for being such a great friend to both of us.
Yeah,
Even though we don't really know each other that well.
she's an amazing person.
Shout
and
out to
she's
her.
very successful, and I admire her as a human being so much. As a mother, as a business owner, as a colleague, as a team player. I
How about
love
just
her.
as a friend?
She's an amazing friend. I love
I
her.
love it.
We love you.
Love you.
Okay, go.
All right, for me, I'm going to shout out Billy Corbin. If you guys are familiar with the series Cocaine Cowboys.
He's my friend.
Yeah, he's not a friend of mine, obviously. I don't
He's
know
my
him like
friend.
that. But he does a thing every week on the Dan Lebitard podcast. Now, Dan Lebitard used to be an ESPN correspondent, sports guy. He must do I think it's 10 different episodes a
Quick
week.
question.
Go.
Is he related to Pat Benatar?
No, not Benatar, Lebitard.
Oh, sorry. Oops. That's a
good
language
wine.
thing.
It's good wine.
Language thing.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. No, but anyway, so Dan Lebitard has this podcast. It's all mostly sports. We've discussed this, I am not a sports guy. But because Dan Lebitard is of Cuban descent and he is a Miami guy, Billy Corbin is one of the leading historians and journalists of Miami stuff. You know, if you watch
And
any
he's
of
not
his-
Cuban.
He's not Cuban, he's Jewish,
Crazy stuff.
which is also pretty Miami.
Yep. There's a lot of Jews.
Yeah. So what I'm going to shout out is every week on Dan Lebitard show, he has Billy Corbin as a guest, and they do a hashtag Because Miami episode where they just talk about all the shit that's going on in Miami. Lately, it's been a lot about corruption and stuff, but I think Billy's wealth of knowledge. And now I just love hearing about somebody who cares so much about a place that he's actually done the work to learn about it and learn about its culture and learn about its history. And it really shows in him talking about it in his works when it comes to the Cocaine Cowboy series, which they just had the
I
newest,
love that show.
the newest one, Kings of Miami, which came out this year.
Really good.
Which is really good. I want to shout out, I want you guys to go check out all the stuff that he does.
He's
know,
good. He's
and
really good. I like that guy.
Check out the episodes of the show, the Dan Lebitard podcast, and I guess the Dan Lebitard show. I don't know. Sorry, Dan. Unfortunately, I was here for Billy, but you do a great job. And he also had one of the best takes on the SOS Cuba situation that happened earlier this year in July. I felt like he really understood the complexity of the situation that was going on in Cuba, and it.
That calls for another podcast. Just targeting
that's a whole nother thing, the SOS Cuba thing. But that, to me, now having a little more firsthand knowledge of the whole history of it and the situation, hearing him be one of the very, very few people that I felt accurately described what was going on, I want to give a shout out to him because I have the utmost respect for him. I enjoy his content and his the stuff that he makes.
I have to say that I'm very thankful to him because of him and his knowledge is that from being a communist, he's now...
Had to do it, huh?
I'm just kidding.
Just for the record,
I'm
I'm not
just
a
kidding.
fucking communist.
I'm just kidding. Okay. I love you, baby.
I love you. Being liberal does not mean you're a fucking communist, okay? I don't want any more loose. You've done me enough loose.
Okay. Adios, Luz.
All right. I love you, baby.
I love you,
You
baby.
sexy you.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to kiss you right on the lips when we get inside. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.